other just examples of some wonderful shifts in healing that you've had with some clients, maybe with manipulating clay, maybe with art and other things that you could just share with other people here, because it's all about healing, right?
So I'll take you through the little journey of artwork. So there are various different kind of artworks. One is, it's called the diagnostic artwork, which means you ask somebody to draw something, and then you try taking out the meaning, or you ask them to write a small passage along with it to understand what they've drawn and to get into their subconscious level. This is all an attempt to get into the subconscious level. Now that's a diagnostic part of an art. Or you can just do artwork for fun and sit down, and most of us lose or don't do artwork after a certain stage because we become conscious about how the world will look at us, and we are expressing ourselves. So that's me, and I don't want to express myself anymore. Like I said, the biggest gift is to express ourselves. We steal ourselves away from the gift that we've been given to express ourselves. No other animal can draw, paint, and you can see that this goes back to the very ancient times. If you go inside the caves, people drew inside the caves. That's how we knew that people lived how they lived. They left the mark of their artwork there. You trace history with that. And then you don't go back to the history of a person without any artwork. Does that sound a little funny? Because we spent our subconscious level, that is the first 6 years, drawing and painting. And that is the place that you can reach straight away when you ask people to draw. That's one. The second bit is what is called expressive arts. Expressive arts is where you don't tell the person what they're supposed to do. It's not about judgment. It's about expressing. And where you are taking a person through just expressing their voice. Let's say, Richard, let's both of us do this. Just how about right now, I tell you that I am feeling angry, and I'm expressing my anger with my clap. So my angry is, I can feel my anger in my palms. I'm angry and I can feel it in my palms. Try that out. What are you feeling right now? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling, personally, right now, I'm feeling, let's just see, content, but I'm also buzzing with energy. So if I wanted to
press that with your hand.
Yeah, in my hands, I sort of rub my hands together and feel that warmth, I guess. I want to share it with people. So there's a good buzzing there, and my heart's buzzing. So that would be one way of putting it across.
What's a song that you would bring up if there was a song that you could sing because you're feeling content?
Okay, yeah, one immediately came to mind. It's a Beatles one everybody would relate to, and that's "Love, Love Me Do." I don't know why, it just boom came into my head. So there's a yeah.
And
by the way, and that immediately brings me back to my mother, because we were so on and so forth. Yeah.
Now, I didn't ask you about your mother, but you went straight there.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what happened was I loved the Beatles, and she had the Beatles collection on vinyl. Both my brothers and myself, we loved that, but we couldn't get a copy of it because it was just on vinyl, and you couldn't then put the vinyl onto a tape. So we got a very old tape recorder. It shows you my age, doesn't it? With a microphone, one of these sort of small, I don't know, it's the size of a book tape recorder. If you can probably see them online. People that are not our age won't understand this, but it was you put the cassette in, closed it, and we got a pair of headphones, and we put a microphone in that, and then played these albums and recorded them onto tapes, which we then shared as kids. But it was the whole Beatles anthology. I think there were about four albums of it. It was wonderful. And of course it had that lovely deep vinyl sound, even through a microphone. And I did one of the first songs that the Beatles ever recorded. It was only a minute and a half, was Love, Love Me Do. But this was at my mother's house, which we used to go to every, I don't know when it was, the winter, down the, what in my culture would call Christmas time, or it was the summer or Easter time. I can't remember, but I do remember that distinctly. And it was a very lovely, gorgeous, warm time with my mum that we as three boys had. So there's that instant connection bringing us back to that point. And I said, yeah, we've been talking about mother, we've been talking about love, we've been talking about opening up, we've been talking about that.
And at this point, I would, if it was a proper session going on, I would have asked you to take, I would have given you clay, I would have given you crayons, I would have given you watercolors, I would have given you sheets of paper, I would have given you magazines, and say, choose the medium with which you can bring back that scene to life. And maybe you can use everything. And for the next 1 hour, we just creating without any other instructions.
But what's the outcome of that, though? I mean, what would be the outcome?
The outcome of that is that without any words, we have created this whole thing. You understand what you've created. I don't need to understand what you've created. But in that understanding what you've created, you have created your entire world on a sheet of paper, or with a piece of clay, or with just crayons. And in that 1 hour, you're not feeling that, oh, I've been found out. We don't want to be found out because that's not safe. We don't want somebody to be above us or below us. We are equals. And what's the best part of this therapy? I draw with you. So I don't sit there looking at you and say, oh, that's not right. No, I draw my journey with you, like you draw your journey there. And we both are at the same level. There is nobody above, there's nobody below. And in that 1 hour, something shifts for you. Because at the end of it, we say, okay, sum it up. So if I was to ask you to sum that up in 2 words, what would you say? Let's say for a minute, just close your eyes and go back there and imagine that you are in this space where you had the colors, where you have these crayons, where you have a clay. What would you create? And I'm going to think in my head, what would I create?
So what I've got, I can talk in words of what I would create, or what would I create? I think that, yeah, I'd probably use clay. And I know what I would create, actually. Can I express what I would create?
Yes, please.
Well, there was this interesting guy, again, that was on TV. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have these types of mediums. And it was this guy who had this little clay model. And it was, he would write, he did animation art with this clay model. I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good fun. And I loved that particular part of that program. And what I'm seeing is the clay model sort of talking back at me as if to try and tell me, what it wants to say. And I haven't found out what that is, but the clay model wouldn't speak in normal voice, go and point things out and sort of catch the creator of the clay model. I think it was Morph or something.
You were creating dramatic out of this, and you were that clay model now. That's how we shift. Okay, so become the clay model now and talk.
Well, there's no sounds, there's no words. It would be, but it would be pointing to something, and I don't quite know. But it's a lot bigger outside in a room, just trying to pointing or doing something fun. And I think that's what's coming to mind is the fun that I didn't have with my mother when she was going through the issue or the treatment that she had. That's what's coming to mind, because it was very much, we were listening to this and she was up in bed going through the crazy treatment, and it didn't help. she subsequently passed on, and that's what I think is coming up. No, not what I think. I know, I can see that. It's like they're in this house, and I'm this little clay model, and it's like, you know, it's pointing up stairs to where my mother suffered in almost in silence, I suppose.
That's exactly what we're talking about. People get aware without talking. And we don't use a language. Like you spoke a language that a toy would be saying. We don't know. That's an imaginary. We can call it gibberish. But it's this that is blocked and sitting in our body, that's embodied within us, that we are not releasing. Intellect is being overused and heart is being underused. Our body is being not used at all. And in 2020, that we caged ourselves. We kind of took away the permission from ourselves to do anything other than use our intellect, because nothing fun was happening inside the houses. And so many more people were falling unwell because of that. And so what you pointed out, the fun element is always safe, and you cannot have fun in a place that's not safe. And art is about creating that safety, creating that safe place for a person. I don't know ever that you were drawing and that was unsafe, until unless somebody judged it and said that's not good enough. And that's how we learn. And that's our first traumas. If we could touch base with our first traumas, which we're trying to do with intellect, but there is a whole subconscious material in front of us that we are not looking at, that we are blind to. Our children draw. Your son has been creating. What is he creating?
Oh, I'll show you if you want. Just 1 second. 1 second, he'd be proud of this. Out of metal. This is heavy.
Wow.
You know, yeah, I mean, it's just madness, isn't it? It's incredible stuff. But, you know,
he's expressing.
Yeah.
He's expressing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. What he's doing is expressive arts.
In that instance, yeah. I mean, but he's also, yeah, at the same time, he loves it. Absolutely love it. I mean, this is a boy that would go outside, be whirling with wind, minus 25 degrees centigrade, but still outside with no gloves on. I just love to be outside and digging and stuff like that, which is what we've allowed him to be and to do, rather than putting him in a traditional, you know, way of looking at the world, very intellectual, and go off and do lots and lots of exams. It's never been him. It's never been from the get-go. He's never wanted to do that or felt inclined to do that. I'm changing it. I'm coming off the subject, but that's not the intention. I know he'd love to have seen that online. Back to you, Anu. Back to you.
It's really within this, what we are talking. He's expressing himself, and you've allowed him to express himself in whichever medium he wants to. And that's what expressive art is all about. If we could express ourselves in the way we want to, in whichever medium we want to, without feeling judged, we wouldn't have the traumas around us, because we know how to shed it off. Animals know how to shed it off. They go through roomies, they shed it off, but we like to carry it in our system because we don't know that we can use our body to do it. Why is it that people who sing, people who play music, people who draw, people who paint, they live longer, they live happier? It's because they allowed themselves to express safely. And they didn't give a damn whether people liked it or not. They expressed. We are more about giving a damn about what people are going to say than express ourselves. And this is one of the biggest reasons that I believe that we are unwell. So why is the expression required just in the face and in a language? Yes, language is important, but we have forgotten the language of expression. I mean, look at the whole civilization. We learned how to build a house, then a bigger house, then a bigger house. That was a piece of art. That was expressive arts. Look at our clothes. We learned how to wear clothes, then we designed them, then we gave them a little more, And we made hair bands, and then we made lipstick, and then we made cosmetics. For what? To express that we could look more prettier. But that was all that we've been doing, and people who allowed themselves to be, they did not die miserably. They died like happy people. It's not about dying. We're all going to die. Remember what you said years back? I can guarantee you one thing, we're all going to die. I carried that with me all my life. So I guarantee you that we're all going to die. But expressive arts, drumming, sound, your voice, my voice, vibrations, and everything else that we're talking about right now, about expression, will always remain. It's just the way it will be expressed will be different. And you'll call it a different language.
And I think on that sort of note, we really should complete, because we've been talking for a wonderful amount of time and just shared so much incredible information. And the question is, can people work with you online or something? Because I know, there are people around the world that they're not going to be in India because they're in other parts of the world. But and there are some people that would this is a great medium, a great way to get into one's world of challenges and just find out what's happening and then release it. Because we know that actually just releasing it in a safe environment is so healing. I know that, you know that, and I don't know any person that doesn't really acknowledge that. But so many of us get very embarrassed by I'm opening up, I'm suddenly talking about sex, for example.
I do work with people across the world, in fact, over the Zoom, and Zoom has been a very big invention from the COVID time, where yes, the answer is yes, you can connect with me. And I do these sessions, and to also bring back the sexual stuff that you did say. We just did a program in Mumbai with drumming and gonging, and where there were a group of about 50 people, 50 women who were allowed to express their sexuality and how they feel inside out, just with the clay work, just with the paints, just with drumming. So yeah, you can do that in your own way. When I say your way, I will be doing stuff with you, and you can release it in your space, in your time, in the way that you want to. And it's possible. And yes, I would love to work more on this. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anu, it's been an absolute pleasure. Always is. We have such a lot of fun, so much exploration, so much to share. And there we go. Thank you for thank you for sharing your amazing journey there, of what you're doing and how you're applying this to assist people to heal. And what do you say? And you've said it so many times, I should just remember.
It's okay. Say shukriya, dhanyavad. It doesn't matter. Again, it's the language we're getting caught into. This is enough.
This is where this is where it comes from. I love it. I absolutely love it, because it's a symbol, isn't it? Just the symbol of peace of two hands coming together. Wonderful. Thank you.
Just thank you so much.